Hey guys, you're welcome to this YouTube channel. And by the way, my name is Whitney IY, and in this video I am going to show you how to cut and sew a straight palazzo pant. The method I'm using is a very easy method that even if you're a beginner, you should be able to pull this off. So if this is something you want to learn, do well and keep watching. Are the items and the measurements you'll be needing. For the measurement, you'll be needing your trouser length, your waist, your hip measurements, your crotch length, and your thigh. For the items, you'll be needing the fabric. So yeah, I'm using a crepe fabric. It's actually 2 yards. You can use any fabric of your choice, be it Ankara, thick crepe material, foam material, anyone. Of course, you'll be needing the ruler. This is optional though. Yeah, if you can draw a straight line with your hands, no problem. You don't need this. Then we need the chalk, your tape for measurements, and of course your scissors for cutting. And this last one, which is your lightest gum stay or your paper stay. This is needed for the waistband to make it firm. So you can actually draft out this pattern on a pattern paper before transferring to your fabric, but for this tutorial I am drafting directly on the fabric. So the next thing you would want to do is to fold your fabric and make sure the wrong side of the fabric is facing you. So for this fabric I am using, there is no wrong side, there is no right side, like both sides are the same, so I have to pick the side I want as my wrong side. So you would want your wrong side facing you because you're going to be using your chalk to, mark on it. And of course, you don't want to mess up the front side, the right side of your fabric. So the next thing is we're going to take mark out the length of the trouser we want. So mind you, a trouser always has a waistband. So for my waistband, I want it to be 1.5 inch wide. So as a result of that, my measurements will be starting from 1.5 inch. You see the way I'm placing my tape. So my tape is placed on the 1.5 inch. That's where the measurement is going to begin. So if you want your waistband to be 2 inches wide, you place your tape on 2 inches and begin your markings. I hope you grab. So my waist to ankle measurement is 40 and to floor length is 42. Since my heels are always 4 inches long, I added 4 inches, making it 46 inches. Then I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. So in total, I have 47 inches for my trouser length. So please always take note of the way you place your tape as regards your waistband. And that is the way your tape is going to be placed when taking your vertical measurement. So next, we're going to mark our hip line. So from your waist to your hip line is 9 inches. From your waist to your hip line is 9 inches. So you're going to mark that 9 inches like so. So you're going to mark the 9 inches for your hip line. So this is where your hip measurement will be taken. So next I'm going to try and use a ruler to straighten this hip line so it would be straight. So I'm just going to try and use the ruler to align the lines to become straight. So this is the hip line. So next we're going to mark the crotch line. Note the way the tape is placed. So my crotch line is 13 inches. To get your crotch line, this is how you measure. And if you can't measure, you can also use the formulas above to get your crotch line. So the next is for the thigh line. For the thigh line, just come down from the crotch line by 4 inches. Just mark 4 inches from the crotch line, you have your thigh line. So as you can see, we have marked out the required lines that we'll be needing for this drafting. So the next is we're going to take our measurements, and the first measurement we're going to take is our hip measurement. Now for the hip measurement, I have my hip which is 41 inches. So 41 divided by 4 gives us 10.25. 10.25. So I'm going to mark the 10.25 here on the hip line and mark 1 inch for sewing allowance as well. So next is you're going to draw a straight line from your waist down to your crotch line. So for me, I always have issues with drawing a straight line because I might end up with a bent or curvy line. So to be certain my line is straight, so I'm trying to take the hip measurements, mark it out on the crotch line and on the waistline as well, and then I go ahead and draw my straight line. So if you are good with drawing a straight line, just go ahead and draw your straight line and don't follow this process. So you can see me drawing my straight line. Yeah. So I'm just trying to make sure it's straight. So now that I've achieved the straight line, the next thing is I'm going to mark out the waist measurement. So for the waist, I have 34 inches. So 34 divided by 4 gives me 8.5 inches, which I'm going to mark out. So I wanted that to be on my trouser. So I'm going to add 1 inch for that. Then I'm going to also add 1 inch for sewing allowance. Yeah, if you do not want it, that just only add 1 inch. So next is I'm going to draw out a curve like so. Yeah, from the waist to the hip line, I'm going to curve like so. So you can also use your ruler, your rule to get your curve. You can also use it to achieve it, or even your curve rule, if you have that as well, you can go ahead and use it for this side. So the next thing is I'm going to get my dart placement, where I will place my dart on the trouser, and for doing that I'm going to get the midpoint in this line on the waist to the other line on the waist. So after getting the midpoint, I'm just going to mark it out like so, and then I'm going to come down here by 4 inch. And after coming down by 4 inch, I'm going to mark half an inch on both sides. That is half inch on one side, half inch on the other side as well. Then I'm just going to, connect using my ruler like so. I'm just going to connect using my ruler like so. So after this, the next step is to determine our crotch extension. So there's this formula I use for crotch extension when using this method of sewing a palazzo trouser, which is displayed on the screen right now. So we're going to use this formula to calculate for my crotch extension. So remember I marked out 10.25 inch for hip measurement. So 10.25 inch plus 1 inch, which is for the sewing allowance, the same allowance, will give us 11.25. So 11.25 divided by 4 plus 0.19 gives 3 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark out 3 inches for my crotch extension. Now that I've gotten the crotch extension, I'm just going to curve like so. Just make sure you give it a nice curve like so. You can use your curve rule if you have one. If you don't, use your hands. So next is the thigh measurement. So the image displayed on the screen right now is how you measure for your thigh. So for my thigh, I have 25. The 25 divided by 2 gives 12.5, which I marked out. Then you had 1 inch for sewing allowance. So you're going to connect your crotch to your thigh like so. Then on the full length, you're going to go ahead. This exact measurement you marked out for your thigh, you're going to go down to your full length and also mark out that same measurement as well. So this is it, guys. So the next thing is just to connect the line from the thigh now to the full length. As you can see, connect it to the full length. And also, if you are into ready to wear, this method of sewing straight palazzo trouser or pants is something you should go for, as it's not only very easy, it also gives you, less stress and perfect outcome. And please, guys, do not assume your crotch extension and crotch length. A wrong crotch extension and a wrong crotch length or line contributes greatly to having your trouser being dragged into your poo-poo. So calculate for it. You grab, so that you get a perfect trouser that is not being dragged into your poo or into your bum bum. So as you can see, I am connecting the lines. So guys, one more thing, if you desire this kind of palazzo trouser that is being displayed on the screen, just leave your drafting like this and go ahead and cut and then sew. If you desire this kind of palazzo trouser, if this is what you're going for. So if you're going for the palazzo trouser that was displayed on your thumbnail before you clicked this video, which is also displayed on the screen right now, go in on your full length line by 4 inch or 3.5 inch and then connect your tie line to it. As you can see, the way I connected it with the red line. So you go ahead and cut. So I won't be cutting the darts. I don't normally cut out my darts when it comes to trouser and skirts. Rather, I just get to sew it on the machine. So once I get to sew it, I'll just show you guys. You grab. So if you still want to cut out your darts, no problem. If that would be, way easier for you, no problem. But for me, I don't normally cut out my darts on my trouser or skirts. You grab. So that's just it. So guys, this is me cutting it out like so. Legs. Oh, maybe I got carried away. So the next thing is we're going to use this front pattern to cut out the back pattern. As you can see, we're going to use this front pattern to cut out the back pattern. So we're just going to label this front pattern. I'm just going to write it, the front pattern. So you can see, guys, I've placed the front pattern on a new folded fabric. Yeah, as you can see, this fabric is on fold, and you can see the way I left this space at the top, which is like about 3 inches wide. Yes, this is the space I left at the top. So next is to determine our back crotch extension. So you can see the formula for the back crotch extension is being displayed on the screen, and you can see the calculations I did, of which I got 5.24 as my back crotch extension. So what you would go ahead and do is, after you've gotten your back crotch extension, you will subtract what you got or marked for your front crotch extension. So remember, I got 3 inches, which I marked on the front crotch extension. So I will, go ahead and subtract the 3 inches from these 5 inches I got from the for the back. So once I minus 3 from 5, I'll be left with 2 inches. So I'll go ahead and, mark out 2 inches for my back crotch extension. I hope you understand this whole talk. So I'll mark out the 2 inches. So the back pattern of a trouser is always somewhat bigger than the front. So I'll just be giving it 2 inches allowance. So you had 2 inches allowance all through. Just the way you see me, doing it. So you also had 2 inches allowance to your tie, and you keep doing that. So if there is something you do not understand, don't worry, drop the question on the comment section, and I'll try I'll try as much as possible to respond to your question. So as you can see, I am just doing the 2 inches allowance. So I'll just go ahead and connect to my crotch line like so. And then I'll also connect like so. So next is I'm going to extend this line by 2 inches. That is this line by 2 inches. I'm just trying to make sure it's 2 inches. It's nothing more than 2 inches that I extended width on the waist line you grab. So I'm just going to extend it by 2 inches from the waist line. Then after, doing that, you're going to go ahead and measure the waist on your front pattern. You measure the waist measurement on your front pattern. So after taking the waist measurement on your front pattern, you're going to go ahead and place it on your back pattern like this. And you're going to mark out the measurements and make sure your tape is slanted like this. You understand? So hope you grasp. After extending up by 2 inches, you take your waist measurement on your front pattern from this line to the other line. You grasp from the beginning to the ending of your waist front pattern. Then you mark it out, that same exact measurement, on your back pattern. So in the long run, your waist measurement on your front pattern should be the same waist measurement on your back pattern. You grasp. So you go ahead and use your rule to, connect it like so, and make sure your rule is slanted like this. And always ensure that your measurement is accurate and correct. So I'm just going to go ahead right away and, mark it like so. So the next thing is we're going to, after slanting like this, the next thing you want to do is you're going to create a curve for your back pattern. So the curve is going to stop at this hip line. So we're just going to create the curve like this to your hip line. So you can see how easy it is. So you create the curve to your hip line. So guys, this is your back pattern, which is ready, almost ready. So the next thing is the darts. So for the darts, we're still going to, do the same process, mark out the midpoint, find out the midpoint between this line and this line. And after finding out the midpoint, we're going to mark out the midpoint. Then we'll come down by 4 inch. You can come down by 4.5 inch. It depends on you, but I'm coming down by 4 inch. So you come down by 4 inch. And after coming down by 4 inch, you mark half and you connect the straight line. Then you mark half an inch on both sides. Half inch on the side, half inch on the other side. Then you take your rule and you connect like so. You connect like so. So this is how you place a dart on your trouser. So we've placed the dart on our back pattern. So when I sew, I'm going to sew it like so. So I'll show you once I get to sew it. So you can see it's ready. Trouser pattern is ready. So I'm going to go ahead now and, cut. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. So, mind you can see this pattern is for the normal palazzo trouser. So I later decided, let me just, switch it to the pencil palazzo trouser because that's what we are gunning for. So I went in on my full length line by 4 inch. Then I connected the tie to that measurement. Hope you grasp what I earlier said before. So as you can see, I am cutting. So your front and your back pattern is ready. So it's ready. So you're just going to open this side of your back pattern and you open that side of that same side on your front pattern as well. So I'm going to indicate that this is the back pattern. So you can just, place a bad sign on it, a cross sign, times sign, just to indicate that this is the wrong side of the fabric you grabbed. So the next thing is we're going to cut out the waistband of this trouser. So remember, for the waistband, I am using 1.5 inch. So since I'm using 1.5 inch, I'll add half an inch for sewing allowance. So for the length of the waistband, you add 5 inch to your actual waist measurement. So remember the waist measurement I'm working with is 34 inch. So I added 5 inches, making it 39 inches in total. So I marked out 39 inches, and that's what I cut out. So next, you fold your fabric like so. So remember the width of the fabric. That is how wide I want the waistband to be. The width of the waistband is 1.5 inch. Then I added half an inch for sewing allowance. So in total, 2 inches, right? So I'm going to, mark out the 2 inches from one end to the other end of this fabric. That is on the part that is on fold, that is from this side. I'm going to mark 2 inches from this side to the other side, like so. So I'm just going to make sure it's 2 inches, it's accurate, so that some side, after cutting, some side does not look, uneven. I don't know how best to explain, but you understand though, right? So I'm just marking out 2 inches, so I'm sure while cutting that, okay, I'm on the right point. So after being sure that, I have 2 inches all through, meaning there is no form of unevenness in the waist band, you go ahead and you cut. Yeah, you go ahead and cut. So next, you set your iron like so. You place a cloth beneath it, and you set your iron like so, and iron your fabric on fold like so. You can see the way it's unfold, the way it's folded like so. So you iron. The reason for ironing like this is to get the mid line, the middle the middle on this fabric. Let me use that word, the middle on this fabric. So you can see the midline. The iron has created it, as you can see. So I'm going to cut my paper stay right now on one side of this fabric, starting from that midline. Yes. So if you measure from the midline, you can see it's 3 inches on 2 inches on one side. So this pattern paper, lightest gum stay is going to be 2 inches wide. So I'm just going to iron it till I get to the other end of this waistband. So this is how you achieve your waistband. So you iron. So you can see how it's neatly ironed on one side of the waistband. So you can see it's glued to it. So it's the shiny side of the gum stain that you will be placed on the fabric. Hope you get. So next, you're going to fold that half an inch in like this. You fold in half an inch. That's the half an inch sewing allowance. You fold it in like so. And you iron till you get to the other end of the band as well. So you iron. After ironing, you go ahead and, close it up like so and iron as well. So you can see your waistband is ready. Yeah. It's ready. So your waistband is ready. So the next is we're going to go right ahead and sew. So in sewing, you're going to take one part of your back pattern. I'm just going to write back pattern on the side without the writings. I'm writing BF, sorry. Back pattern. Then here, front pattern, so that, you know, I don't mismatch or mis-sew. So I'm going to take one part of the back pattern and another part of the front pattern. And I'm going to place it like so. So you can see the right side of the back pattern is facing the right side of the front pattern, as you can see. So I'm going to place it like so, and after placing it, I'm going to sew on this side. So I'll cover up this place. You use 1 inch to cover up, then you also, you know, aim the down of your trouser. You also aim the bottom of your trouser, the down. You also do the same thing for the other pair of is it pair? For the other side and patterns of the trouser. But you understand what I'm trying to say, Sha? Hope you do. So this is it, guys. So I'm just going to sew like so, then aim the down. This is how you aim. Let me show you. In case you don't know how, you fold like this, you fold like this, and you sew. That's how you aim. So I'm going to do that and show you. So this is it, guys. You can see I have done it like so. So you can also see the that the way I sewed it. You can see the way I sewed it. So that's it. So you can see the front side of the dart. This is it on the right side of the fabric. So next thing is to join this together. So in doing that, I'm going to turn this one side of the trouser to the right side. Then I'll, you know, take it in like this. So in the process, after, you know, putting one trouser inside the other trouser, your front, the right side of the fabric is going to be facing the right side of the other, you know, fabric of the trouser. Then I will sew like, let me just show you guys. So you can see I've arranged it properly. So you can see the right side is facing the right side, right? So I'm going to sew like so. So make sure the crotch lines are lying against each other or lying on each other. This English is hard. So I'm just going to sew like so the crotch line, close up the crotch line. So for me, I'm going to, you know, put a flyover zip. So at this point, you can decide where you want to place your zip. So you can place your zip on the sides. If you're placing your zip on the sides, you open up the side and place your zip. If you're placing your zip on the back side, you know, don't close up one side of the back side of the crotch. If you're placing your zip on the front side, no problem. Wherever you decide to place your zip. For me, I'm doing a fly over zip on the front side. I'm doing a fly over zip. So as you can see, I have, you know, closed it up and I have input my fly over zip. If you do not know how to, you know, sew a fly over zip, I think I did a tutorial on that, and I'll drop the link on the description box. So you can see my trouser. The trouser is ready. So next, you're going to, you know, place your band. Now there are two ways to, you know, actually place your band, sew your band to the trouser. The first step, one of the way is, you know, you take your band like so. You take your band like so, and you bring it here. You place it like this. You close up this end. You close up the other end. You close up the other end, and you make sure you close up both ends. Then you come like so, and you sew round like this. You come like so. You sew it. So when you open it, it's going to be like so. Hope you grasp. So that's one of the way. Then the other way is, I've done a video on that before, a very detailed video, so I'll drop the link for that on the description box. So guys, this is the hat comb. Make sure you iron, because ironing your trouser gives it that gator, and you know now that gator gives it that, you know, standing palazzo trouser effect. So guys, if this video was helpful and you're yet to hit the subscribe button, what are you waiting for, guys? Hit the subscribe button, like, share and comment. So see you on my next video. Mwah.